gamers, and welcome to episode 466 of the Super Ultra Podcast Arcade for August 24th, 2024. I'm one of your hosts, Daniel Nicholson. With me is my co-host, Dominic Stallworth. What's going on this week, Dominic?
All right, not much, man. It's been a big week in gaming. We had Gamescom over in, what was it, Germany?
Yeah,
Germany. Yeah, that was huge. And yeah, man. I mean, yeah. So this is almost like a E3-ish kind of thing, man. I mean, this is the biggest game conference in the world.
yeah. Now with E3 out of the way too, it's especially they're getting more like bigger announcements. It's still nothing like crazy, I feel like, but there were some pretty big things coming out of the show.
Yeah. I mean, it was newsworthy stuff, not like games, but some newsworthy stuff really came out. Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's get to sports. My O's are like they're kind of, well, as of today. Yesterday they had a big game where they were struggling, but they came through in the eighth inning. They came back and beat the Houston Astros. But overall, they've been a little iffy, man. The bats are just gone cold. Like, we have injuries on the pitching, and it's like, darn, we need our bats to not get to put some work in, man, because it's like our pitching is not going to hold it down for us, and our bullpen is not that great. But it's the reason our hitting, everybody's just not hitting, not in sync.
Yeah.
But hopefully what happened last night pull it through, man, before they can get back in sync. Because hey, thank God the other teams are they haven't, well, as of right now, the Orioles are still just one game behind the Yankees. And the Yankees, I think, are one game behind the Dodgers as far as all of Major League Baseball. As far as in the win column, anyway. So it's I mean, yeah, nobody's, like I said, nobody was pulling away, and it's still very close right now. But I think this is the time to start winning, like start getting in place. We got like basically a month left, and some people have come up, like they have come up because since the top teams haven't been really killing it, some teams that I thought were I wouldn't say dead, but like I was like, they don't seem like a threat this year. They got a chance because of these teams doing that. So yeah, it's gonna be a crazy month. We'll see how it goes. I hope the O's, man, can get it together. I feel like just get into the playoffs, see what happens. I mean, you can say that, oh man, this team look like a team that can win it, but hey, you might get lucky. I mean, Arizona Diamondbacks, man. I mean, nobody thought of them going to the freaking World Series, but they got there.
Yeah.
And then Texas Rangers. I mean, people had them actually winning the World Series at the beginning of the year, but it wasn't until, like the end of the year, they kind of just stumbled in the playoffs because like they did good the first half of the year. They did great the first half of the year. Second half, they were kind of tame, and they because they were fumbling and like Houston had caught up with them. They caught up and got the lead. And so you didn't really know what was going to happen with the Rangers. But they went and won the World Series. So that's why I said, like, if you get in, you got a chance. You just got a chance. So let's just get in there.
Yeah.
I know preseason football is still happening. I don't know what's going on. It's like I said. But so we got, I think this is the last week. I want to say it's only 3 preseason games. I think because it's like one extra regular season game, right? So I think it's the last week for preseason. College football, I don't know when it starts. I know last year they had that week 0 because no big teams played, which was so stupid, which I'm sure they did again.
Yeah. Might even be this week because I know Pat McAfee was done with announcing on Raw because he does like the Saturday football thing.
Yeah, it is because Florida State is playing Georgia Tech.
Look at me
right
knowing
now.
College football, Dominic, based on the movements of people tangentially related
even
to
though
it.
Georgia State is a big school, but thing is they're playing Georgia Tech, who's not big, so that's why it's not considered week 1. Even though it says, Google has it for week 1, but I think if you go to probably ESPN, it probably says week 0.
And week Google doesn't count. Week. How dare them?
Yeah, it's like week 1 counts because week 1 is next week because it's Georgia versus Clemson, number 1 versus number 14, so that's why that's going to be big. And plus there's those 2 big schools that have won recently championships. So it's not really much. Yeah, it's not really much playing today. Actually, this is the only game they showing up here on Google. As for they only showing the top 25. Yeah, that's the only. Yeah, well, that's the only top 25 team playing this week. So yeah, this is definitely the week zero they would call it. All right. So what else in sports is happening? Basketball is nothing's happening there, of course. Yeah, I guess that's it. So what's going on in wrestling?
Let's see what is going on in wrestling. We're leading up to Bash in Berlin for WWE. That's their next kind of big show. Obviously, overseas in Berlin, that is going to be Randy Orton versus Gunther for the World Championship. That should be a good match, but that feels like pretty much a given that it's going to be Gunther going over there. And then on the SmackDown side of things, it's looking like it's going to be Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes for that championship. Although the Bloodline stuff is still happening, and basically, he's saying he isn't Solo is saying, nobody's getting a shot at that title besides me. It's still my turn to get it. So we'll see. I don't know if that's actually going to happen for him. But yeah, so that stuff should be interesting. I think tomorrow is All In for AEW, which is their big stadium show at Wembley. Yes, it is tomorrow. That's going to be a crazy show. I'm always like, man, I kind of want to buy the show to watch it live. But the couple of times that I did that with AEW, I always felt burned. Although last year, I think I did end up getting All In just because of how crazy it was supposed to be. And it was worth it. I was telling one of my friends, like, it's kind of crazy that like this time last year, CM Punk was still in AEW and was basically, had recently come back after his long hiatus for injury and the incidents that had happened, the year prior, only for it to come out like during his match that there was just a backstage incident with him and Jack Perry. And now here we are with him having just had his first real singles match back in WWE. It's like, it's hard to believe that it was only a year ago, but it's amazing that it was a year ago already. It's time is very distorted right now for me, Dominic. But I've talked about it in the past. The big match here is going to be Bryan Danielson versus Swerve. It's Bryan Danielson, career versus title, basically. And the more I see, the more I'm convinced that he's getting that title. I think Swerve's had a decent run already. He listed off the other night during his promo all of the people that he's beat, and it hasn't been like a spectacular run, but like when you just look at the people he's beat and the matches he's had during this run, and even the time frame, I think it's been like 6+ months at this point. It might even be, I think, like 8, because I think he maybe not. Maybe he didn't take it right at like the beginning of the year, but like 2 months in. So like that's a commendable championship run, and losing to Bryan Danielson, who may even, do something dastardly like turn heel while this match happens. It's doesn't look bad on your resume necessarily. I just hope they have something interesting for him after this title run is over, because that's what a lot of AEW has really struggled with, is that kind of follow-up with once they've told the story, once Tony Khan has kind of gotten to the peak of the story that he's been building up to, he doesn't really know where to go from there with guys, and they kind of fall to the undercard, it feels like a more and more. Because he's got like his one story that he's telling, not to diminish him, but there's usually one main story like at the top of the card, and then there are a couple other stories that he's focused on, and then there are like his favorites that he's always going to use, like John Moxley and stuff like that. But then people that kind of don't fall into those categories are the ones that get left behind and get stuck, like wrestling Chris Jericho or something like that, which in this day and age isn't necessarily the best spot, despite what he'll tell you. So yeah, that's what's going on with wrestling. I'm excited to see All In, whether it be the highlights or if I actually order that show tomorrow. The nice thing about them doing it in Wembley is, like, even though it's on a Sunday, tomorrow it starts at noon. So, you know, it's not like a into the night thing like a lot of their pay-per-views end up being when they're running 3 and 4 hour shows on Sundays, and then you got to go back to work on Monday. But yeah, so that's should be a good time.
All right. So let's get on to we're going to skip what we've been watching because we haven't watched anything in particular. So anything worth mentioning? No. So we can go to what we've been playing. So I actually wanted to try out that Kingdom Come Deliverance because 2. I know we talked about 2. I think it was doing either Jeff Keighley shows or something. Yeah, maybe. And because I was like, that's not the game I thought it was. I thought it was something like Chivalry or Medieval or something like that game. And like something very probably more what's survivalish type of game, you know, like it. And it does have some elements. I think you could get hungry or something, but it's a story. It's a story with cutscenes and everything with it. And see, I was under the impression like it wasn't. It was just like you just go into this world with nothing, and then you try to, you know, like survival game,
right? And
you're just in. It's just in this type of old medieval times. But nah, it's just like an RPG, and it has a story and everything. It starts out. I mean, it ain't too spoilery because I mean, it starts out you're in this village and stuff, and they give you these tasks to do. I guess to get familiar with the controls and what you can do, and about. Also eating and drinking, and like how they say even if you get drunk, even some of your interactions with people would be like could be different. Either good or bad. I mean, it all depends.
We know that.
Yeah. And also it was something else. I know there's a weird thing with that of like the save system. I mean, they have automatic saves. But they also have it where you can save by drinking this thing called this schnapps, like some type of drink or something.
Save elixir.
That's like so you have to buy saves, like you have to buy that to save, which is I thought that's an interesting system. Okay, but it starts off like some and it's like supposed to be taking place in I think in actual real history. Don't get me lying about who the hell the king is and whatever, but I know it. I don't remember where it takes place at. I know Germany somewhere, and I seem like I don't like the Germans. But
too many of us.
Yeah. So I don't know where this place is exactly, but there is somebody like who's trying to be the king, and I guess their people that they hired because they hired a lot of mercenaries and different people from all over the place. They came to the village, our village, and my father. I guess he used to be a soldier, but it looks like he gave it up, and he didn't never teach me the sword. He's a blacksmith now, but he took it up then when they came, and my mother and father got killed. I had to go ride off to the next village, and you do ride. Everything's in first person. You do, and like I rode the horse. Like they taught you They showed you how to fight in the game, but like just a character, you know, your character is just not really trained. Yeah, so like the hand-to-hand combat is very different too, like you blocking and stuff like that. Like it's really integrate and like it's really like you have to it's not just you can't just keep pressing punching because you'll get hurt unless you put it on easy. I guess maybe you could, but yeah, you're gonna have to block and stuff. And as you use like your different I want to say abilities because it's just punching and blocking or whatever. Like how it was in Oblivion. Like when you keep using something like, hey, you keep using hand-to-hand combat, your hand-to-hand combat will get raised. Like your stats will get raised.
Oh,
If you
okay.
keep
Oh, gosh.
like running or something like that, you'll get more agility. Yeah, they'd use that type of system. Uh, anyway, and also like I was on, like I had to get away on a horse and whatever, go to the next village over, and I told their person like, hey, what happened and everything, and I warned them. And I'm kind of at that point. Well, I'm at the point where I went back to my old village to bury my father and mother. I wish I got a choice because I would not have chose to do that. Because I think that would be stupid to go back there. Like those people said. I said yes, I agree, but apparently my character did not, because he said he has to bury. He said I cannot leave them to go like that. Yeah, he's very religious, just like everybody, to believe in God and stuff like that. So yeah, I got to the point where I buried my father and mother under this tree or something. Something my father said, like he said, "Hey, I want to live here forever and die with your mother aside under this tree," and I did that. So that's the part I kind of stopped at. Well, actually, no, I didn't bury. Actually, I don't think I buried him yet. I had to go pick up a shovel, and then I stopped. I was like, you can't just do a cutscene of him just getting a shovel. I really gotta go get this shovel. I said,
It's
something better fucking
immersive,
happen.
Dominic.
No, I'm saying something better happen. Like some freaking bandits or something come out or something. Cause I swear, if I really had to go dig a hole for these people, I'm like, what the fuck, man? Come on, man. I ain't trying to do that. But it's all right. It's because Darren, I would have been playing this game because it was on Xbox Game Pass. I didn't know what this game was, and I didn't know it was nothing like this. So I was surprised that it was like a really like an RPG. I would have probably enjoyed. That's kind of similar along the veins of like Fallout or Oblivion, Skyrim, all them Bethesda games. And so it's and the look of it. I mean, I'm not running because I'm running on my PC. It still looks all right. Like it's not really like, I wouldn't say you wouldn't look at it for the graphics, but it's fine. They do have them look like almost at times like your character looks like God. He looks pretty like it looked like his eyes are too wide. But what I thought people
It's just
back
white
then looked
people
like,
back
though.
then, Dominic.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think they look ugly. It's just,
We all have our own
yeah.
beauty standards, Dominic. How dare you?
But yeah, it was it was all right. It was an all right game. So I'm gonna continue playing it because I had to take a break from Dragon Age Inquisition because it's just too much downtime. There's another thing. It's too much downtime, like with you doing these quests in these games. That's really not. It's not immersive enough for me. Like that's a problem. It's like I want to get them done and see, but it's just like sometimes it feels like story wise, it's not that great. It's like it's not really a good payoff with them, and I feel like I said, this game, it just feels like they could have done so much more. It was a fine game, and it was a fine game at its time, and it's thank God it came out when it did before Witcher 3. But yeah, I just had to take a break from that. I did play some more Trails of Daybreak through Daybreak or whatever it's called. I played a little bit more of that. I'm in a new part of the country, this other city. It's just amazing how time has flew by. Like I think it's been either 5 years or 10 years. I want to say 5 years since the end of the events of the last game. But like I said, how in the first game, Trails in the Sky, like it was pretty like technology was just getting started, but it wasn't really in people's homes or nothing. Like people like the scientists stuff were like fixing stuff like they use these things called orbits, which give the power so you can you can use it for a lot of things. It's energy basically, and people use it and that's how they started inventing stuff. And then like I remember when the first time they say, hey, there's an orbital thing called orbital car where people can just get in and blah blah blah. like we used it for the airships. Like they had airships and stuff like that. But then so now we got the things where you can roll in cars. Like you didn't really see it though, because it's like nobody really had it. And then just in a few years' time, people are having it. And now in this game, which is probably from that first game to now, I would say it had to be like 10 years, at the most 15 years. It's a whole highway system. I'm like, what the fuck? I said, this
infrastructure. That's what we need.
It's a whole highway system in this country, Caliber. Like they got like it's not only that. Like you see all these cars. Like, wait a minute, y'all done this? So like 15 years ago, this shit didn't even exist. and y'all got a freaking highway system. Now he's like, I'm going to the expressway. He said we go to the expressway to this. It gets us fast to the next city. What's the expressway? Are you shitting me? I was like, good gracious. I was like, wow, like time really moves fast here. Good God, like somebody who was literally like a kid. I mean, somebody who was like born around this thing. They saw so much, like just to like develop, like how society has changed like significantly. I mean, good God. But yeah, so I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like this guy, and then like the truck you got, like you don't got no old timey cars here either, man. These are some good looking like sports cars and stuff. They got racing, and man. I got this truck. I'm like, yo, they said they're gonna skip like that those old Oldsmobile fucking cars, whatever they are. Shits, man, they just like those wagons and shit, like people driving. They just went straight to like a goddamn like Honda Civics and damn like Mustangs and shit. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how they how they do that with the technology. But yeah, but the game is it's cool. I'm still having a good time with it, and I think I see my first black person in this game.
Oh,
yeah, the cop. Though he has purple eye like pupils, which I'm like,
so he's an alien. Got it.
Yeah, like I mean, in these Japanese anime, people have like green hair and stuff, and it's not dye. One time I was like, oh, I guess it's people like dye their hair, but no, you see somebody born when they have a kid, they have green hair too. I was like, wait a minute, I was like, what? Y'all just got green hair and shit. Yeah, so. Yeah, I was like, oh, well, still, I'm gonna say he's black. I was gonna say, or he's a very dark Asian. I don't know. But that in Caliver, they said it's basically almost like a nation of immigrants. There's a lot more immigrants who live in that nation than anywhere else, and they have like a districts and stuff. So I think that kind of makes sense to have someone who's dark. I was like, okay, there, because like this is the place where I actually see more people actually look Asian. Like other games, like you see them and they even tell. If you see somebody who looks really Asian, they'll say that, or like with Asian garb, they'll say they're from Caliber probably. Like they say, hey, my family's originally from Caliber, and I was just over here. But now I'm seeing like their whole communities and stuff, and like how it's all made up, and I say, oh, okay, so this is like, so it's cool that I'm in this new city and get to see this, and. They have issues too. Like people have issues with the immigrants and stuff like that. You know, they don't belong there, Daniel. They should have built a wall. They should have built a wall in that place too. All right. Where are we at here? What else have I played? Let me see here. I played a little bit of Mafia. I just wanted to see how it looked on the PC, and well, it looks good. I mean, the game itself looks good. It doesn't run that well on my PC though, but it does. Look a whole lot better than what I remember seeing Mafia when I first ever saw it. Yeah, like they really redone the game, and going through the city and stuff, it looks really nice and immersive. Nice. And I played some more Descendants. Yeah, it was kind of grabby, like just going around shooting. And I do like how people can just join your game. Like it's not.
Oh, that's cool.
I would call like drop in because the people they're already in your world. But like I said, like when you go say, hey, I want to do this task. Well, it kind of drops you in. Like I say, if somebody else is doing a task, they'll just drop you into them because they're doing the same thing. Y'all just do it together. And if I'm like, yeah, if you're like in an area, you might even be doing a task, but you can just help them out. And it's like, oh, this guy's cool. Cool. I'll just shoot some of these enemies because they still can hurt you. The enemies still can hurt you. Yeah. So you like shoot them, but you help them out. So Yeah, it's pretty cool that way. I mean, just like all those other games of service games, there's a whole lot of shit around. Like, see, thing is, it's kind of me. It's so easy to ignore it for me. Like, if I just see something that's very confusing, I just know that okay, I might have to pay some money for that. Fuck it, I don't care about it. Like I just won't care about it. When they just show all that junk and stuff, I'm just gonna play through the game. That's all I'm gonna do. It's like play through the game, and if I level up, I'll see what kind of weapons I have. And that's the thing. I might not even change my weapon unless I find something that's like that feels better, because I don't feel like I'm getting like I'm weaker. I feel too weak for these enemies or something yet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I haven't got. I'm gonna probably like wait, because I was like, I'm not gonna keep changing weapons. I'm gonna just keep the ones I have and see what happens. Like, see what if I get to a point where I feel like, oh, this is not. I'm dying or something like that. 'Cause I haven't really died yet. Like, it's been pretty easy so far.
They gotta get you started and get you in there.
Well, there is.
Keep you hooked.
Well, there is a thing where it says like you can make it harder, but I think you have to be a certain level or something. Like I said, it's too much reading, Daniel. If they don't talk to me, and then I'll just don't read it. I just don't read because I hate. Oh man, I just hate it because I mean, you know how it is. In those game of service, the font is all small sometimes, and I just like I'm not reading all this. So just tell me what the fuck it is. Like I have to do. It's like I just want to jump in and play. That's all I want to do. Just jump in and play. And like just keep it simple. All right. What else have I done? I think that's it for what I mainly played. So guess we take a quick break when we get back. We'll get to the flashback segment, which is very short because it's only got one game that's worth mentioning, and then right into the gaming news.
All right.
And we're back. So let's get to the flashback segment. We're flashing back all the way to 1994 because there was really nothing much to mention, man, in those other years. So we're going back 30 years to 1994 and Japan. The King of Fighters 94 came out. So I don't know how many King of Fighters have come up before this one, but this one was a pretty big one because this was the first one they added characters from other games. Like, what was it, Fatal Fury?
Yeah, it's basically like a combination of, it was like Streets of Rage and all sorts of
some other games.
SNK games.
Yeah, SNKs, yeah. So this is like the first one, and it was 3-on-3, so it was like a first team-based thing. So this is like huge for that game. And I've never been like a big fighting King of Fighters guy. I just never caught on for me.
Yeah, same.
And like I would see it I remember like being young, seeing like, oh, King of Fighters, whatever year it was, or whatever. And I was like, oh, they just come out every year with the game. It's like that's the only fighting game I know who does that.
Yeah,
like,
I was shocked to see that on Wiki. I was like, wait, they've been putting out King of Fighter games like every year for like 15 years.
Yeah, and cause I remember always reading that in Game Informer, like something like that, like every year a King of Fighters game. I say like, wow, that's weird because I don't see Street Fighter.
I was gonna say Street Fighter was missing out. Although, like, I would have to look. Like, I wonder if we looked at that because you have like Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Hyper, Street Fighter Tournament Edition. Those. You know, so I wonder if it's basically the same.
Is
idea.
That's what that is? Yeah, that's what I'm curious. Yeah, if it's just that, or were they totally different game? Not totally different, but like
we'll add an extra character here.
Yeah.
We'll actually add an extra like stance change here, or something, you know, something like that. And they're just like, yep, so you guys will eat this up.
Yeah. So maybe they maybe it's probably similar to in that fashion. Maybe it's like, hey, this is updated rules or something like that, or like oh, we fixed like basically like the hit what they call it
boxes.
Like the frame hits. Yeah, we did some new hit boxes in this version. So it's like the like here in the 90
different iframes.
Yeah, 95 version doesn't have that or something like that, and this one does. All right. So yeah, that's it for the flashback segment. So we can just quickly go into the gaming news and talk about Gamescom.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gaming news for the week, Dominic. Gamescom, of course, Geoff Keighley's fall show, basically.
Oh, Jeff Keighley did this?
Yep.
You know what? Because I was watching, I think the most I watched was the Xbox thing.
Yeah,
and,
no, he did the same. He does the opening night live thing, which is basically, his
that's right. And I totally
stage
missed that.
performance. It was fine. There were a couple of big announcements, but mostly I'm sure those were covered elsewhere anyway. I'm just gonna kind of rattle off most of the stuff here. Anything that maybe catches your attention, just let me know and we'll take a pause. Borderlands 4 opened the show. I don't know if this was like always the plan and they were going to be like, man, the Borderlands movie is hitting. We're going to show off the fourth game. It's going to be like a victory lap for us. Or if this was like, yo, Geoff, we got to get this game announced because people are not happy with this movie. Can you give us some space? I wonder, but what do you think, Dominic? Borderlands 4 are you excited for that? Would you want something not necessarily different? Would you want Border Worlds, I guess? Or are we still talking about that as a concept that could exist eventually?
I mean, well, they are going to another world. It's taking place on another world.
Oh, okay.
Like Borderlands.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's the thing. I don't think it's going to multiple worlds, but it's a different world. So I'm curious to see where they go from there. I honestly don't know what I want. I mean, I like Borderlands, so it's just we'll see, man. I like shooting and everything. I like guns, so I still like the whole concept of Borderlands of 4-player co-op, jump in, and play through this campaign of shooting shit and shooting and getting loot. I like that. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they have to do something to really get me into it. I wouldn't mind playing some more like Borderlands. I mean, of course, I want a little change. 3 was only a disappointment. I mean, the story didn't really grab me, and also that the look of it is just. I mean, even though it technically did look better than 2, it wasn't that much better.
Right.
It wasn't. It just didn't feel. I just I want something like this to feel like new. I want it to feel new. It's the Borderlands game, but it feels like this is definitely like I want to be like this is the best one. This is the best one.
Yeah,
that's what I want. I want you to be better too. Yeah,
doing a cool new thing. Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, next up was they showed off kind of an extended look at Black Ops 6. There was a kind of a situation where you're rescuing Adler and you're pulling him out. You go on a motorcycle chase, and then they show some of like the Juggernaut mode. And yeah, I mean, it looks fine. The graphics aren't really impressive. Bill Clinton was in there, so you got that going for you. This is definitely the 90s. That's coming out October 26th. Obviously part of Game Pass if you got that on the higher tier. Is that a thing you feel like you're going to jump into when that hits Game Pass, or hopefully
is it
it's
going to
not
be streaming?
Well, I was going to ask you if you think it's going to be like tied into the Call of Duty like lump sum. Am I going to have 200 gigs open in order to?
Yeah, because I'm not. I'm not.
Yeah,
like if I have to download it, I'm not going to be playing it. It has to be on cloud streaming. If it's not on cloud streaming, I'm not playing it.
Yeah. Just such a convenience factor. After that was a trailer for Goat Simulator Remastered. This
I'm very surprised about this because it just felt like the other one just came out.
It did, yeah. Goat Simulator 3 couldn't have been that long ago. I mean, it's probably like 2 years maybe at this point, but even then, and the first one,
update. I feel like it'll be an update for that one.
Yeah. Now, I thought initially maybe they were just like doing the silly thing that they did with Goat Simulator 3, and this was going to be a new game, but they're calling it Goat Simulator Remastered. But I had saw somebody say, like, if they were doing that, the smart thing to do would have been to call it Goat Simulator 2 Remastered, because then you can obviously show that it's a different thing, because Goat Simulator 2 never existed. But yeah, I don't know who this is for necessarily. Goat Simulator seemed very much like a product of its time, when streaming was kind of hitting kind of an apex. I mean, obviously streaming had been around before then, and streaming has continued to grow from there. But that was one of those like meme games that became popular. I guess that's what I should say. It's less so about like streaming, but more so about the games as they fit into streaming, right? Like this was one of the first games where it's like, this might not be the best game, but it's a lot of fun to watch someone interact with, and therefore became a very large thing as a result.
Yeah, because I never knew what the game. Well, to this day I still don't know what it is. Like is it just a sandbox game?
Yeah, effectively. Yeah, it's
does it have missions? Like what does it tell you? Does it tell you what, like, the goal?
There are some things that you can. There are some things
not
that
run them over, but well,
there are objectives.
like to hit button. Yeah.
But mostly it's just about you going around and licking stuff with your comedically large goat tongue, and then eventually becoming some sort of satanic cult leader goat or something. So not much in the way of story, but there's definitely some stuff going on in that game. All right, next up was Persona 3 and their challenge mode. They're going to be bringing Joker from Persona 4. Is that 4 or 5? That's 5, right?
Persona 3.
No, Joker.
Joker, Persona 5. Yes,
okay,
yes.
Okay. Yeah, so he's coming in as like a boss in the challenge mode for Persona 3. So that's kind of a fun little addition, but this isn't the meat of the DLC that's coming. After that was Dying Light: The Beast. This was the debut trailer for that. Did you see this trailer, and are you interested in a new Dying Light game, Dominic?
I wouldn't mind it because I didn't really play the the part 2. I remember I think I played a little bit of it, but I didn't never play all the way through because my friend didn't have the game.
Right.
So we never played it. Like if the game was on Game Pass, though we could have touched it, but we never took the chance on buying it. And then Dead Island came out, so we got our fix.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is like a totally new game. This is not an expansion. It's a standalone expansion.
Yeah,
that's what they're calling it.
It's a standalone thing. So it seems like it might be a smaller thing, but not necessarily. And this looks more like it's kind of taking place in like a wild area, like the cities maybe. You're outside of the city a little bit in like more of a foresty kind of situation and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, Dying Light has been quite successful, and I think those games have been pretty critically acclaimed. So, more of that. Not too bad. Next up was King of Meat, Dominic. This is basically like Fall Guys meets Diablo. Like, it's a dungeon crawler, but it's also got like kind of contestant-y type vibes to it. It looks okay. It wasn't like super impressive, but it looks cute. After that was Linked Banner of the Spark.
So wait a minute. You said King of Meat?
King of Meat.
And what is he says, like what? Like Fall Guys?
Yeah, like Fall Guys, but with like a little bit of Diablo in there. There's some sword combat.
I gotta see that game.
Yeah, the trailer has like a little cartoony Geoff Keighley in there playing the game.
Okay.
If you look up King of Meat, Dominic, it just takes you to the steakhouse in New York.
Oh.
So their SEO is not very good.
Oh, well, I'm looking at YouTube. I see it.
Yeah, but that looks like it could be fun.
Yeah, it does look like fun.
It almost feels like one of those things where it's like, is this a commercial or is this part of the actual show announcements, though? After that was Linked Banner of the Spark. Steven Spielberg's son, Max Spielberg, came out to announce this game. So, following in the grand tradition of his dad making boom blocks, he is now here to bless us.
Nepotism.
Bless us with nepotism. The game didn't really do much for me. It seems like there might be something there, but they don't really have much to show just yet. So you're basically getting these little robot guys. It's like isometric, and you're using them as like different powers to upgrade your character and go through this. Like I don't think it's a roguelike necessarily, but it's like almost a dungeon crawlery thing. But it looks like there's also base building stuff too. So one of those everything style games. Next up, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. This is the one from Don't Nod to the Life is Strange people. They said part 1 and part 2 are going to be out in 2025. So I guess that means it's going to be episodic. There was a short trailer for this. It looks pretty cool. We were at least fans of Life is Strange at the time. Going back might be a little hard, but I like the vibe that they're giving in this, and I definitely wonder what the kind of twist is going to be to it.
Very, 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 very
very woke.
Yes, very West Coast, Northwest Coast liberal vibe. From it.
All right, and then there was Predecessor, which apparently is. So when Epic got rid of Paragon, they stopped Paragon, their MOBA game. They like made that open source, and then like a developer seemingly picked that stuff up and ran with it. And now you have this Predecessor game that is basically like a rebranded version of Paragon, which is kind of cool, but also like, are there a lot of people looking for that or playing that,
what's it called? Predecessor?
Predecessor, yeah.
Predecessor? Oh.
Yeah. Predecessor to the Paragon.
That's what it's supposed to be. That's what
I think it's sort of something like that. Like that's what they're trying to imply from the thing. But all right. After that was let's see, we got Path of Exile 2 that's going into early access November 5th.
But wait, what kind of game is it? It's a
MOBA. It's a MOBA.
But it's a was Paragon a MOBA in isometric view, and is this just like third person?
No, that was a third person one too. It was a more action-y style MOBA. It's just using the like team-based team versus team like one map kind of thing is why it was a MOBA. It was trying to differentiate itself, but it just did not do a good job at the time. So it did not succeed. But no, this is very much like looking at this footage. It feels basically exactly like what I recall of Paragon. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but it seems very familiar.
Well, hopefully it's just successful like Battleborn.
Yes. All right. Next up, Path of Exile 2 going into early access November 15th. So all those people that are not happy with Diablo can get their fix there. Dune Awakening, they showed more of that. Geoff Keighley, it seems like, is absolutely in love with this game or in love with the money that they give him, because it feels like we see more of this game at every single one of these shows. This is the survival-based game, set in the world of Araxis. Is that what it is? Whatever the planet is from Dune. So
yeah, sure. my Araxis, my Dune. That's what that fat guy said.
Yeah, yes, exactly. All right. Next up was Reanimal. This is a new game from the Little Nightmares people, and it looks kind of cool. I mean, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah,
it just looks like Little Nightmares.
I was saying they were copying. I was saying these people are copying Little Nightmares, and they are the people who did Little Nightmares. Okay, so then now it makes sense. It looks scary as shit.
Yeah, and it's funny because we also see Little Nightmares in this game, or in this conference later on.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was very confused. It's like they're making 2 games. So, or there's another developer.
That's what I was just going to look
on.
up right now, because I wonder if they were like, oh, this is the real Little Nightmares 3. They took it away from us, so now, you know.
I remember us seeing Little Nightmares. I mean, I was playing it at what was it called? PAX.
Yep.
PAX East.
Yep. I can't believe you made it through playing that, Dominic. It's because there's so many people around you to give you love and support.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like it is the same developers working on Little
man, they're working double time. So. See that they can work on 2 games. Man, why the hell these people can't get 1 game done?
All right, let's see. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. They confirmed that Little Nightmares 2 will be the last entry, as they were acquired by Embracer Group in December 2019, but still the Little Nightmares intellectual property belongs to Bandai Namco. The publisher intends to continue the series without teaser. So they are making their Little Nightmares. Wow, that is Geoff Keighley starting like Street Wars out here with people. All right. Let's see. Next up, Genshin Impact is finally coming to the Xbox on November 20th, Dominic. Are you going to get back into Genshin Impact now that it's available on your favorite console?
I forgot to mention, I did download it.
See. Yep. They got you.
On the PC, because I was like, I'm going to give this game, because I was really trying to find a game to play, man, when I was just getting bored of the Inquisition. Like I don't need to take a break from that, and I was like, let me see some of these free-to-gameplay games and try them out. Because I was even thinking about downloading the Star Wars Old Republic.
Oh,
so I was like, hey, because I was looking up, because I saw people saying like how you can just play through the whole game. I mean, it's free to play, and you don't have to pay for any of that stuff. Like, you don't have to pay for the post-game stuff. And I was like, oh, I should download that. But then I remembered it has no controller controls. And I feel like using a mouse and keyboard.
Yeah.
And I said, I just have to lose out on that.
Yeah.
Wow. I think WoW updated, though. I was looking up. They say WoW updated that you can use controller now.
Oh, cool.
If you chose to. Which I'm seeing that whatchamacallit is on the Microsoft Store, WoW, for the first time.
Oh, really?
And I'm just like, so somebody said, like, hey, can they put it on Xbox?
Now is the time. That expansion comes out next week, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Dominic, we've got Monster Hunter Wilds. They showed off a new trailer for that. That's coming out in 2025.
Now, like someone said, because how we were, I mean, I guess we'll get to it later on. Monster Hunter Wilds. Well, no, I won't talk about it. I'll wait till we get to the Microsoft stuff. I'll talk about it. But I'll wait to talk about this issue with that.
All right.
But go ahead.
Yeah, just they showed off a trailer for that, and then I was going to move on to the next thing, which is Lara Croft in Naraka Blade Point. Anything?
I mean, this is like gonna be. Is this going to be better than Worlds?
Worlds was a game to me, so probably.
I said Worlds. It was only World.
Yeah, World. Yeah, the Worlds is coming, Dominic. That'll be next. But yeah, I mean the game didn't do much for me. I'm sure for the people that are excited about this, it'll probably be
Rising?
better than World.
Is it better than Rising?
No, because that was on a Nintendo console.
What's the one that's on the Xbox now? On the Game Pass.
Game Pass. Which one is that? Is that like?
I played it, and I don't remember what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. I've got Xbox open here. We're gonna look for
Rise. That is Rise.
Oh, it is.
It is Rise.
Then yes, that one is still better. Sorry. All right. Let's see. Next up, I mentioned Lara Croft in Naraka Blade Point. Basically, it's like a skin. Like, hey, one of the characters now can look like Lara Croft, and you're doing a lot of climbing and stuff. I don't know what that gameplay is. You played a bit of that, didn't you?
What was the game
Naraka
called?
Blade Point. because that came
Is that a
out
VR
on
game?
Game Pass. Nah, that was the one that I now I'm not sure about what the gameplay is, but I thought it was like a third-person action, but like had some live game elements to it, but it's like Samurai Ninja stuff.
Oh, that. Yeah, I did play. Yeah, but it was like I don't know. It just felt like a online kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like an online kind of game. That's why I stopped playing it. It was yeah, because what do you yeah, it's a multiplayer. Yeah, yeah, I think you do all kind of stuff in there, but yeah, I didn't play it because it was like an online yeah, had those online elements and stuff. It just I wasn't into that at the time.
Yeah.
I thought it was just a simple action game, but it's not.
Yeah. Nope. They want to sell you Lara Croft for probably ridiculous amounts of money. All right. Next up, they showed off Monument Valley 3. I forgot Monument Valley 2 existed, but that's coming out December 10th, and 1 and 2 are going to be part of Netflix games. That's like a very simple puzzle game that's on phones. I remember liking kind of what Monument Valley 1 was doing, but it being a phone game, I fell off of it pretty quickly. After that was Civ 7. They kind of showed like a retrospective of like, here's how we got here. And Civ 7 to me, I don't know what the nuances are, the changes between games, because it just kind of looked like Civ 6 to me. But that's cool. Marvel Rivals, that's gotten a release date of December 6th. They showed off Captain America and the Winter Soldier. That stuff looked pretty cool. That is a game that looks neat, and I would maybe give a chance. I think they also announced that all of the player characters are going to be free at launch. So
I saw that.
That just means those costumes are probably going to be extremely expensive, but hey,
and that's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, if you're doing the characters, like I'm
if they were
cool with
smart.
that.
If they were smart, they'll put the ugliest costumes on them right now, so you have to get the good-looking ones. Like they will not give the iconic Spider-Man.
Oh, of course not.
Costume.
No, they won't. They're not going to give you sexy Spider-Man either. They're going to save that for one of the Halloween events or something.
That's what I'm saying. Because I'm not saying they shouldn't have they should have gave it like a bad what's a bad Spider-Man called? One of those ones that's on that Sony the game. The Adidas one. They should have had the Adidas one.
Oh, no, not that one. Yeah. All right. Next up, for some reason, Tencent was given an award for like saving the planet or something. That was kind of amusing. There seemed to be kind of an audible groan in the audience that was there, because it's like, oh yeah, like here's the UN coming out and
because this is Gamescom. Yes,
yeah, they have like some tree initiative related to Gamescom, and yeah,
we promised to grow a tree, and we have.
A singular tree.
Yeah.
Next up, Tim Miller came out. He's doing a series with Amazon called Secret Level, which is basically like an anthology show made by Blur Studios, which I think he like co-founded. And it looked really cool because it's like got legitimate characters from games like Mega Man and Kratos and Pac-Man, and then there's like even Sifu in there, so like more recent like kind of indier things. And it's basically just like an episode is going to be dedicated to that, and it's not like a documentary about that game. It's going to be like a Blur Studios developed episode of television, I guess you would call it, based around a story in that universe.
Phonovision these days, Dan.
Phonovision.
So yeah,
that's probably where most people were watching. Yes. So that looked cool, and he was very emotional about it. So hopefully that means he is extremely passionate about how good it is. Yes, he was very upset.
Oh, no.
Next up was Batman Arkham Shadows. This is the VR game we had seen previously. That's coming out in October. What do you think, Dominic? If this runs on the Quest 2, would you give this a shot? Not
Yeah,
totally
I
sure
wouldn't mind
what
giving it a
it's
shot.
exclusive to or anything.
Even though he's beating up poor people apparently from this PC gamer
I
article.
mean, that's always what Batman's been doing, Dominic. Now you follow comics more than I do. I had heard someone say at work that they are doing a Batman reboot where he's not a millionaire. Do you know anything about that? Is that real?
I don't know. Yeah,
Okay.
that's new to me.
Oh,
And
the Batman game's only on Quest 3, unfortunately. That's kind of shitty.
nah.
But
I mean,
what
they
is
got it.
Batman if he's not a billionaire? Like, he doesn't have any powers, and he doesn't have any tech if he's poor.
Yeah. How does he do his tech then? I guess they donate to him.
He goes to the soup kitchens and the
Oh, so I guess he
homeless
turns to
shelters.
MacGyver.
Or we find out later that he is the Joker. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah, it just
like
seems
us,
weird.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that
but
is,
but the guy, it was a guy who I follow who, thing is, cause it's not such a serious topic. Cause I wanted to respond. I was like, it's whatever. I mean, it wasn't gonna be negative. No. I was just kind of questioning because like he was saying that like he agreed. He was saying that look, Batman is because I think he was responding to somebody who was saying that how all the good things that Bruce Wayne has done or something like that. Or Batman has done that. This is stupid. This trope is stupid to make fun of. And then the guy's part is saying that Batman could have used all that money to change policies in government to make things better. Is like Batman's not the hero. And then I'm like,
Batman does have a lot of political sway, Dominic.
I'm just saying. First of all, look, if you want to go down that road, fine. But the Joker and all those other bad guys he stopped. I'm sorry, like I'm okay. Like,
but he doesn't stop the Joker, Dominic. He lets him continue to kill people. That's my problem with Batman.
No, but that's the system's problem. Then you need to get with the system to tell him to execute the man when you get in there.
The system that he could influence the policy of with his money.
Yeah, whatever.
It's
but
all
like
to blame.
he's just look. He's stopping those things from happening, and I'm like, it's just comic book, dude. It's like I know you say he's not the hero, but in the comic book world, that's not a thing. That's the thing. Like a lot of things aren't things. Like aren't what we are in reality. It's up to what the
in comic books, politicians are corrupt.
Yeah, so only up, and then there are politicians who do the right things, like who do the right things and everything, and that's not real. that's no such thing as those, but there are in comic books. So like I said, it's there. That's the saying. It's like I don't know. You should take like I'm not defending the man because it's not real. That's the thing. It's like who gives a shit? Like you're talking about he beats up poor people. What poor people he beats up? That's all I want to know. I never see Batman beat up somebody you would call poor necessarily. I don't know what you mean. Like I don't get that. And honestly, I never really see him beat up black people.
Thugs, Dominic, they're just poor people that are being taken advantage of by the supervillains. And
then they're all white. First of all, they're all white too. All these people I see Batman beat up are all white. Like all his comic books,
that's because they know they can't fuck around with that. Huh?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what we're complaining about. You say you beat up poor people. What poor? Fuck them. There's because they're all in comic books. They're kind of it's black and white with that. Like they're
it sure is.
It's black and white. It's not a whole thing of like he was brought up in like so and even then his life he was brought up from a bad life and now he is what he is. He's an adult now. Yeah, I was like I'm sorry. Unless Batman beating up kids. This man is an adult.
No, that's what we need to see. Batman beating up kids. They had it coming, I'm sure. He didn't kill them. He just broke their arms. It's fine. All right, Dominic. Let's see. Next up, we've got Little Nightmares 3. We already mentioned that. Hurdling. I wrote this down. I don't remember this from the show. Oh, this is the one where it's basically like you've got these like big beasts that are almost like where the wild things are creatures, but maybe a little more sappy looking, and you just kind of look like you're herding them around and moving them, and they're helping you solve puzzles, and it looks kind of cute. It's very, very cozy indie style game, Dominic, but it's third person, and yeah, they're kind of like buffaloes, but like maybe more expressive. Did you mention
Civilization 4? I mean, not if I said 4.
7? Yeah.
Oh, I must have missed it.
Yeah.
My fault. Yeah, but because I got a lot to say about it. I was watching this deep dive to it, and I didn't finish it, so it's still a lot more to it. But they they down with I know with districts. I'm trying to remember what the hell is what the. Oh no, I think with the whole like getting that building army. So like in the old games, like you had to if you wanted to do basically win by attrition, like basically like it's military, basically like just winning, like you just blow up the other nations, whatever. Thing is, by the time into the game, you'll have a whole bunch of like soldiers and stuff. You gotta manage them all like individually, and that it's so time consuming because it's a turn based game. It's not real time. So it's like, oh, I gotta wait for my turn. Then you gotta wait for those people's turn to go move their soldiers around too. And now they made it, I think they have a command thing called a command system where you can kind of bunch them up so that when you move this group, this whole group will just move. And it makes it better for like consolidating that. And I was like, oh God, say thank you. Because was always a problem when I got like really deep in the game and like I'm there. Like, I'm like, darn, I got all these soldiers that I forget. Like, I got a soldier over this continent over here doing something. And I was like, oh, damn. So, yeah, I do like that. But, yeah, they add out a lot of little things and some, it seemed like some quality of life stuff to it. And it was cool because I'm thinking one of the videos, like, it was actually the Sid Meier video, like, of the game. Official video, and cool. They showed him, and I don't know, I guess in the studio in Baltimore or whatever, and he was talking about the history and stuff like that.
Yeah, go get our interview, Dominic.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was like, hey, man, you should get an interview with this guy. And yeah, this game, and it's going to be out on everything at the same time. It's not going to be on PC first and then eventually ported.
Nice.
They are going to bring it on everything at the same time. And yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious, like how this feel. I mean, I like 6. I mean, I hope if they improved on 6. I mean, yeah, it should be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Next up, Dominic the King is back. Peter Molyneux took the stage. He's got a new game called Masters of Albion. Not that Albion, though. The one from Fable.
What to say?
It's his own Albion. It is a legally distinct Albion. But it looks very much like Black and White. You're doing a lot of like God game style stuff. It's got the hand. But you're kind of building your city during the day, and then at night you get attacked, and you can
I forget he did that game.
Yeah.
I'll be forgetting he did that game.
And you can either directly control the character to kind of fight back, or you can God hand and use some powers and stuff as well.
And I never played it. I always wanted to play that game too, Black and White.
Same. I never had a computer that could run it because it just like
I was so jealous that I see it. I was like, oh man, like you could be a god. I was like, God, I want to play that. And by the time I got a computer to play it, I just didn't care anymore. And then he was already known as a liar.
A liar and a charlatan. Yeah. Despite making his best game.
Snake oil salesman.
But now he's back, and we praise him, Dominic. All right. After that was... Let's see.
You can go in third person, too, in this game.
Yeah. Yep. You can directly control a character when you're doing the defense stuff. All right, next up was Squid Games. They're coming out with a mobile game that basically looks like Fall Guys, and it's even very like cutesy. It's very much like not in line with the aesthetic of Fall Guys, but they're trying, Dominic, so good for them. After that was Unknown 9 Awakening. We had seen that game before. Another trailer for that. Looks pretty cool still. That's the one where you can kind of jump between characters and set up action and stuff like that. The first Berserker Kazan, we had seen that before previously as well.
It's the girl from Witcher who stars in it. Oh, that's what she looks like.
Oh, is that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that game does look cool as far as like the gameplay that we've seen of that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the first.
But it's a woman starring in it, so it's woke. So we don't want to do that.
It's gonna go broke. Okay.
So yeah, what's the company that people don't like?
Sweet Baby Inc.
Yeah, yes, go see. You gotta see if Sweet Baby Inc. has anything to do with this.
All right, yeah, the first Berserker Kazan that's coming out in 2025. This is the one that reminds me of like Sekiro. It looks kind of like that. And very action heavy, very seems okay, but I'm not super into it.
I mean, visually, I like it. I like the somewhat cel shadedness.
Yeah, it has almost like kind of a mix of a Mad World look to it. Is what it reminds me of. Yeah. Then we got Aura Stories Untold. That's coming out September 24th. That is the Civ game that's made by Microsoft. So.
Oh yeah.
a lot of those games. Yeah. So that's coming out soon.
Oh yeah.
So you can
Aura,
kill time until you get that.
The Aura Stories Untold. There was because Microsoft had like 3 days or so of talking about like their own show, and there's some deep show like there's long shows that go deep into the games they're making, and I had just turned to it and they were talking about Aura, and the people in the chat did not like that, like how long they was taking on this.
Yeah.
And then I think there was even someone was like, "Oh man, I'm deaf." I said, "Come on, I pre-ordered this like 13 times." It's like, this guy, it's like they're just being assholes. I was like, "Oh man," but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a. I mean, like I said, it's like a Civ-like game, but this one is real time, right? I think this is the one that I said it was different because it was real time, I believe, not turn based.
Maybe that's what it was. Let's see. Stories Untold.
So it might be similar, actually more similar to another game, there are other games, I just don't know them. I can't remember. Like Humankind, I don't remember what Humankind is turn-based.
And then there's
real
Anno.
time.
Like, what's Anno do?
Yeah, I don't know if that's real time or turn-based.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So, Aura is turn-based grand strategy.
Oh, so that is definitely...
So it might have been Anno that we were talking about when the Ubisoft thing hit that we were confusing with the real-time stuff. So, all right, let's see. Next up was Flotopia. This looked very cutesy, very Animal Crossing-like you're building your area and inviting people in and stuff like that. And then
God, look at those Jesus Christ.
Then we got into the meat and potatoes.
I can't let nobody know I play this game.
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. That's coming out December 9th. We got a release date for that. And a second release date, Dominic, because it's also coming to the PS5 in spring of 2025.
They announced that on the stage?
That the logo was in the thing at the bottom. I want to say it did say on the Jeff Keighley didn't say it, but I think it said at the end of the trailer, at the bottom of the little title card that it was coming to PS5 spring of 2025. So people were instantaneously upset by this, of course.
Upset or not. Oh, some people
Heartbroken.
were happy.
Heartbroken.
Or happy. I think some PS5 people were happy.
Nope, they don't want their. They don't want that trash Microsoft stuff, Dominic. Don't you know that? Yeah, they aren't interested.
But Sea of Thieves does so well over there.
It's doing fine. That's Microsoft people that owned a PS5 that are just playing it on a better console. That's all that is, Tom.
This is pretty huge. It's like now where do we go from here? Well, you know what? Yes, let's get through these games before I finish.
All right. Yeah, there's basically one more big game at that show, Mafia: The Old Country. So it seems like we're going to see the downfall of Italy, Dominic, and why all of the Mafia had to then come over to America to restart because they've ruined their own country.
Yeah. I put because I've seen a preview for Kong Survivor Instinct. It's almost looks like a Metrovania type of game that's like you're a person while Kong is fighting a monster in the background at some point. Like you're going through. I mean, I just saw the preview.
Yeah, I just watched the trailer for that after you put it up there.
And, I mean, it looks. I'm curious. It looks interesting. I mean, I hope it's
better than the last Kong game.
Oh, I hope that too. Yeah, exactly. But I'm glad. I mean, like, because some people probably be like, "Oh, no, I want a Kong," but I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, because I like you. I know you like Metrovania like games, so like something like you going through the destruction and stuff. You know, as there's a battle going on. That's interesting to me. Like how that game develops and like what it is you do and like how it turns out.
As long as at some point I actually get to play as Kong. Because like I mean, seriously though, like you can't have a King Kong game and at no point in time do I then get to just be the very large ape destroying everything. Like, yeah,
but then okay, fine. They just put it in there. It just sucks.
That's true. And I'm fine with that as long as I get to do it. No, but it does. It looks interesting because it gives me the epic one, the epic Metroidvania.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of too.
Yeah,
I was thinking of that one. I just can't think of the title. What was the title of it?
Yeah, I don't know why I'm just blanking on that, but that one that came on. I can
see the logo and everything. I can see the logo. Because it gives me like commie vibes. That logo, like communist vibes. Let me see. What is it called?
Shadow Complex.
Yeah, Shadow Complex. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely reminds me of that a little bit. From the Xbox show, because I didn't really see a lot of that stuff. Was there anything, big out of that? I mean, there was the news that Avowed is going to be 30 frames per second, and I think people are upset about that.
That wasn't out the show, though.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it wasn't. They're trying to keep that under wraps.
Yeah, that came after.
That's a Jason Schreier hit piece is what that is, Dominic.
I don't know if there's any surprises, because I didn't watch all of the stuff, because these were long things.
Yeah, it seemed like it was more just kind of in-depth gameplay stuff, expanding on what they've already
I watched the gameplay of Avowed, though, like some of it was going in depth on that, and that game looks really great, really nice, and yeah, I mean, it looks. I'm more impressed by it than I was when I originally saw it before.
Nice.
And Indy looks good, and Indy, I like when I was seeing the gameplay, and I did like it, and didn't like the podcast. You heard me listen to the podcast Unlocked.
IGN Xbox One. Yeah.
The guy said like, hey, he was getting Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher's Bay vibes from it, and then he's like,
awesome.
those guys did it. Some of those guys that worked on that game.
Cool.
Yeah, that because there used to be Starbreeze, and then they got bought out, whatever, and then they're this. But yeah, they did that game, and he said he got a lot of vibes with that because it's not a lot, because you weren't doing a lot of shooting. It's a first-person adventure game, kind of like that, because like you were doing a lot of shooting in that Butcher's Bay game or whatever. And yeah, it's so. And I was like, okay, see now that really got mentioned. Because first, honestly, the Indiana Jones game, I mean, it looked all right, but I didn't really care. Yeah. But now I'm more interested. Now I'm more interested in it because it's like, oh, like maybe it's not just what I thought.
Yeah, maybe
like,
it's more
just, like,
deeper than that. It's not quite as shallow.
Exactly.
It's just another first person shooter.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm got more interested in Indiana Jones. Now I don't see. Did they even show anything from Gears? I doubt it. I would think I would have saw that.
Yeah, no. Didn't hear anything.
And I'm trying to think of another game. What other game was mentioned? No Perfect Dark, right? And no. So basically, everything we kind of know is coming. Just more in depth of that. Like I think they show
sense.
Starfield.
Yeah.
They show Starfield and with that DLC,
Shattered Space,
that wrote. And now the Rover thing too, which is that out now? The Rover thing?
That's out now.
Do that? Yeah. So that's cool. I didn't look at the Starfield. I'll have to check that out to see like what's that about. But yeah. But now the news is really big. Is the one that's come. Well, just talk about the Indiana Jones thing being on PS5 first. So that being on PS5, that really just puts the almost a nail in the coffin, man. I mean,
it feels like it.
Or maybe it's a screw. Or maybe it's a screw. It's screwed, but it's loose. It's loose right now, but it hasn't officially like tightened. Like they really just. It's
so
like
they
almost,
can back it out still, is what you're saying.
So. Like, it's going to be like, so Xbox is going third party, they're just going to put all their games on there, or are they going to still make a console but still put their games third party? Like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
And yeah, so they're putting this big game on, so it's like, well, I guess look like maybe all the games are just going to be multi-platform now. I mean, at least on PS5, if it can run, and if it's small enough to run on a Switch, I'm sure they're going to put it on the Switch, or they're going to find some way to say, hey, you can stream it.
Can we get the Nintendo Xbox, Dominic? Is that the way to solve all of our problems? We need competition for Sony, and there's the handheld Switch, and then there's the Nintendo Xbox, which hooks up to your TV, does 4K 165 or 240 or whatever people want nowadays. But your games are cross compatible there, so like you can still do low level gaming with the Switch. It'll still plug into your TV if you want, but if you want like the high powered gaming PC equivalent, but also want to play those Nintendo games at that dimensionality, like can we get that as like a working business, partnership to maybe step on the toes of Sony? We need somebody to step on the toes of Sony. That's my only problem. I've got no problem with Microsoft putting their games on other platforms, but the idea that their hardware might not be going away, or even right now with the place that we're at right now where their hardware exists, but it's not really competition for Sony, is not a good position for us as consumers to be in.
No, because then Sony is like the only of the higher powered consoles that's out there. As for like for so that means
where's Samsung at? Get in the hardware game.
There's no incentive to improve certain aspects of their console or anything, because it's like,
or
who are they competing
pricing
with?
Or any of that stuff.
Who are they competing with? Like that's the thing. And for anybody who's happy with that, I don't know. You don't know enough, and you're too up your own ass that you don't understand. And it's very juvenile thinking. It's so weird. It's just so weird for people to be that into a product that you're just buying. Like, you're not part of the company. You're nothing.
Yeah, you're not profiting from it. Yeah. So, like, why are you so invested in that aspect of them?
Like, I want good things or something like that. Like my dad was telling me how people used to be, and they probably are, but it's just not. I mean, I guess you did the Beatles circles, like car company fans, and they would just dish on the other company, like
Ford
a Chevy
or
or
Chevy
stuff.
guy,
Ford,
or
Chevy, Ford, Chevy. But it's like, I want both of them to be good. What the fuck? I want the other one to go out of business. Because then it's like I need these companies to have, like, hey, you make a good car, you go make a good car. It's like, for y'all can compete each other. That's what builds it up so they can be better.
Right.
So yeah, I don't. Yeah, I never got that. I mean, I got like when I was young. Yeah, I was young, but as older, like I still see when I see adults do that.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And that's where you see the car stuff more so than, as kids, it's like, yeah, these console wars, right? But
Yeah.
it was always like, why are these adults arguing about cars?
Yeah, it's like what the hell? It's like it's whatever. You get what you like, but I sure don't. Not gonna hate the other company. Like I'm not gonna wish them not unless they're like they unless those companies deliberately making cars that blow up or something like that and people die
Sure.
something like that. But yeah, like I don't get why people like either people say, oh, if we told you or something like that. Like if I'm even on the side, I don't have an Xbox. I'm not rooting for them to go away because then it's like, oh crap, and that means Sony's not going to be getting better. But some people just see like, hey, the way it is fine, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Oh, I'm just hoping like you're a kid who doesn't buy games, so you don't understand. Like you're not paying for it. And if you're an adult, you're an idiot. And like, I mean, you're weird. You're freaking weird. But Xbox going this. Yeah, from a business standpoint, I understand it, but I'm not the guy running the business. I mean, I'm not getting anything from that business. So for me, as a consumer, I want to know what is the future of this company. Like, what are you trying to do here? Do I like right now? Like right now, I don't have neither console. So what's the like? If a person who doesn't have an Xbox or a PlayStation 5, and that's why I want to choose one on your like right now, it looks like I just get a PS5, but like. What is your selling point to tell me why I should get this console?
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like,
why would I invest in your platform at this point?
Yeah. Like, give me a reason why I should play. And the only reason really is Game Pass.
100%.
It's because that, like, hey, you get Game Pass and you get our games. Even though you can play those games on the PlayStation, some of those games, they're not going to be they're not going to be like free with the service or something. You have to pay another $70 like for them, or wait for a sale or something. But which I might do. I'll just say like I'll just wait for a sale because all those games they're not Nintendo games. They go down in price eventually at some point.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just be more patient. Which as the older I get, you become more patient. I was like, hey, I'll just be more patient and just wait for it to come down in price. But I want to be able to play because, like, hey, why Black Wukong is not on your system? I saw the logo in the earlier trailer, but then they took it off. And like, why are they having a problem with playing the game on your system? Like things like that. And like they said that because of the Series S, they can't do it. But like, why aren't you working with them to get that? Like, you're making it so like. I should get the PlayStation 5, man, because the third-party guys are going over there. Like, why Square Enix said now they're going to go probably more, like, they're going to actually put their games on more available other places now than they were before.
Yeah.
But I just
wonder if that means, like, day and date on the PC, because as the Xbox becomes less and less feasible, is it worth putting that money out for whatever you might get from them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but as a consumer, that doesn't matter to me. I just want you to tell me what is to get me their system. Yeah. Like, what's it? Like, why is those games are not on your system if they're third party? And why should I get your system? Like, why should I get your system then? If you can't get those companies, there's no point in me getting your system.
How are you going to convince me? Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only incentive is Game Pass. I mean, if you want to do that budget, but then it's like you're paying $400 just for the service. Well, you might as well get maybe the S then. Fuck it. And save some bucks. And then at that point, I mean, I don't know. I mean, because PC it's still a pretty price. I mean, because like you could say it's $400 maybe for the console, and there's some deals out there that make it better. Well, $500. I'm sorry. It's supposed to be like regular $500, but you might get it for $400 in some places.
Yeah, you can find them.
You might can find it
cheaper.
Like, well, retail price is $500, and you might find it cheaper. And they have these other versions that's coming out with bigger terabytes, and they're gonna cost more. which I don't know what's the incentive of doing that. Honestly, like buying that one, because it's not more I mean, it doesn't do anything more except for that it's bigger. Like with with the what another terabyte, I think. With the biggest one is 2 terabytes of drive or whatever. But anyway, yeah, like it's still cheaper than a PC. Like it's still not like.
Because we're talking about like that whole cost being effectively what it's going to cost you for even like a low to mid grade card at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. But then that's where you have to come to that. Am I willing to just pay for that in Game Pass or pay for a PS5? They do have the PS Now. It's not as great as Game Pass, but I mean, it's still saving some bucks.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. If Microsoft was really, really probably competitive, PS the whatever I'm saying PS Now, even though I know it's called something else, but it's just easier. The essentials, like the essentials and the whatever stuff they have, programs, tiers they have, like they wouldn't take their own first party games off their shit, because that's crazy to me that they're your first party games, they're your games. But you only have them up there temporarily. That doesn't.
Yeah, it made no sense.
But but I guess the competition is not really being really competitive with you. I guess you can get away with that, because I don't like that, because I would be like, as a PlayStation Essential or whatever player, I'll be like, hey, why is it Horizon the Horizon game up here anymore? The sequel, why do you take it off? It's like, what? That doesn't that's your own game. The other competition doesn't take their games off; they stay up there forever. And you're supposed to be like a Netflix thing. Like Netflix don't take their movies off; they're up there forever. Even those old ass movies. I was looking, I was like, no, they're still up there. Like it's theirs, and they're gonna keep it up there. So I'm like, why are you doing that? But hey, they don't have to. Apparently they don't really have to do that, because they would easily just stop it. But yeah, it sucks. I mean, it kind of sucks that is at this point. Like Xbox, they bought. I mean, Microsoft bought these companies. They bought Activision, and then I hear people say that they're trying to get their they gotta get their money back for all that stuff. But I was like, what the fuck? What's the point then? What was the point of buying it then? Because I'm thinking like, I thought they was buying it because they were trying to get more people to buy their console and like get to the ecosystem. But if you're just gonna put the games out everywhere, I don't know how that works. Like, it's just that, you bought the company, but you're just buying a company just to make money. It's not really so much as it. I guess it doesn't really matter if they buy your not just a console, but I mean, I know you want people to go on Game Pass, but I guess it doesn't matter because you still selling on the PlayStation, and I guess I guess it really does, as long as they buy it somewhere. I guess they pay for it somewhere, and that kind of sucks, because I was hoping that, hey, you put these things on Game Pass, and and y'all will see if people will come to it to Game Pass. I don't know. I mean, I thought it would like get more subscriptions or something, subscribers or stuff, if you had more exclusives up there or anything. But honestly, we haven't even got to a point for that to happen to say it failed, to me. For that to even be a thing, to say like, oh, it's not going to work. We haven't even got to that point where it's like, oh, this didn't work. You haven't put enough exclusives up there to like for people to want.
Yeah.
You got any more to say to that until I get to the avowed 30 frames per second news?
Avowed controversy, Dominic.
Yeah, apparently avowed the console version. It's going to be 30 frames per second. And do you have the article out where the guy talking?
No, I can see the developer.
Because I mean, I want to say I don't want to butcher his quote, but he basically said along the lines almost the same as what's his name? Howard.
Todd Howard.
Bethesda. Yeah, Todd Howard, saying that it was like a creative thing, like Like it was it was like it was a creative thing that they needed to be 30 frames per second, so that they could run the best looking game basically. They have the best visual effects and all that stuff, and it's like, oh my god, we're doing this again.
All right, I've got the quote real quick here.
Okay.
Performance is one of the last things we figure out. Our core target is 30 frames per second, bare minimum. That's the expectation. It's a first-person single-player game. You don't necessarily need that 60 frames, and that allows us to get a lot juicier with the effects, lighting, and all the other stuff. It's a trade-off we opted to make relatively early, and we're really happy with that. I mean, the game's running pretty smooth for how visually dense it is, and that was always our goal. As far as greater understanding of performance specs, we're still figuring all of that out. It's one of those last things you do.
Yeah, like, first of all, if you are going to make it a performance mode that happens within these 3 months, that because it got pushed back because you basically were done.
Yeah,
because the game is supposed to come.
Allegedly.
I would say you should not did no comment on whoever asked you a question to result in that, because like I would just wait, because like you already saw what the freaking happened to Starfield, like when they said something similar.
Well, I'm starting to think like it's on us, Dominic, for expecting anything over 30. Like based on this quote, especially, like, oh, it's a first-person single-player game. We don't need anything higher than that. It's like, I'm silly for expecting that out of like this, super powerful allegedly console.
Yeah, I don't feel like you don't tell people what they don't need. As a guy who's like you're selling the game, you know.
Yeah.
You don't tell people like, oh, you don't need that. Like, yeah, even though they don't, you don't tell them that. Especially, I mean, people. Okay, when they got these consoles, it was an expectation. I don't know now. I mean, I think we looked it up, but I forget. I don't know if it's rightly so that people expected this, but maybe but I felt like the messaging was there from their part and even Sony's, that it was wrong. Like you made it like people were expecting like they were getting the best looking game, so they're thinking like, hey, game's gonna run smooth, like 60 frames per second, and 4K. They kept showing 4K and stuff like that. Now the 4K 60 frames per second. I see like, yo, that's very hard to do, especially with these and whatever. I mean, personally for me, I'm good with 1080p 60. I mean, I can deal with 32. I mean, I can deal with 30 if it's smooth. It's a smooth 30, consistent, fine. Even though, I mean, but like, yeah. But when I'm thinking of high powered, for me, 1080 60 is peak for me, and I'm good with that.
Yeah.
But like, for you not to be able to do 60, I'm thinking like, what? So we were still a generation off from that, or is it just, or like,
or
please
further.
tell us. Or like, please tell us how these consoles work. Like, yes, I'm saying, like, why even put this out there?
It feels like we were sold a promise that we're now very much not being able to capitalize on, and it feels like a bait and switch, basically.
Yeah, but then I say like, wait a minute, Starfield just put out a performance mode, so I feel like y'all should have, like, when that happened. That should have been a thing y'all been working on.
That's when you prioritize.
Fine.
Oh, people actually want 60. Maybe we should try and figure out a way to make this happen.
Exactly. And I don't care like when you do it. It could be the last thing, but it's going to be done. Like, it's going to be done. It's going to get done.
Yeah.
And don't be like, I'm thinking like, why would you put this out there? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, after such goodwill that Avowed got over this week, I feel like that just killed it.
This guy wasn't media trained, Dominic. He wasn't supposed to say anything.
Like that just kills a lot of the momentum. Like Avowed was getting much love. Like, the only bad thing I would have said was that, oh man, this game should come out this year. Like, I'm pissed off it's not coming out this year. That's what I'll be. That's like the only bad thing. It's like, man, Microsoft pushing it back.
Yeah.
Now you telling me it was going to be 30 frames. So, oh shit, maybe it's good they pushed it back, but I hope by the time it's done, y'all do put a performance mode in there and not be like, no, we don't need it, and then come out with like 6 months later or something and put a performance mode in, just like they did with Starfield.
Hey, like, guys, we heard you, and we're sorry. Here you go.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, I just wish the messaging was different from the very, very beginning when these consoles came out, where, hey, maybe you wouldn't have to do that. Maybe you wouldn't have to do a performance mode. But then again, I as I say that, I'm thinking, like, it's a job, so it's your work. Hopefully they just pay you for it. You know what I mean? They pay you to do that. And because like with Starfield, because they could have did it, because like they showed they could have did it by having it out there. It makes you think, like, what the fuck? They should have done it. I was like, wait a minute. So you tell me, because I was under the impression you couldn't have done it. That's why. And there are people with this messaging, and people runs away with it because people making fun of this, and then they compare it to some other games, saying this game runs at 60. But you know what? There's other games that people love that don't run at 60. Like I was talking about the Monster Hunter. Like someone said, Monster Hunter, what's it called? The new one, Wild, or Wilds or whatever.
Yeah.
That runs at 30. They said that runs around 30 or something like that. But nobody's complaining about the frames per second on that. I guess, I mean, and I don't know why nobody's complaining about it. I mean, I'm not saying it's, but
because Japan gets away with whatever they want.
I don't know. Somebody said it was the Xbox tax. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's the saying. I don't know why. I can't have no answer for that. I mean, I don't know. It could be like a little bias, maybe. But then again, I don't know how much. What I've seen of it. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It's just like Avowed. I never heard anybody question Avowed though, saying like, man, this ain't. But then again, they could be running from a PC. Maybe it was going at 60. It was running from PC. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know, but there are some other games too that people like that don't run exactly at 60. But also Microsoft still, I don't give it like, oh, people are being unfair, because to an extent I don't give them that. Some people aren't, like, they're just haters. But
sure,
Microsoft, this is you said this is the most powerful console, so that's why, you know, you're gonna get it.
Yeah,
you're gonna get that kind of critique of your games when you say you're the most powerful console. It's like, well, why can't you at least do 1080p 60? Why? I mean, I know you can't do 4K 60, but why can't you do 1080p 60 on a console?
Because nobody wants 1080p on their 4K television, Dominic.
Yeah. What you got to say about that?
I mean, it's so silly to have just gone through this with Starfield, and I think it's interesting to have seen what happened with Hellblade, because, you know, they kind of went through a similar thing, but I don't know if it's just like people's enthusiasm for that game was so much lower that it kind of went away pretty quickly, or if the fidelity of it was just impressive enough that people were like, oh yeah, okay, we can see why you can only get to, you know, 30 on this. It's like I kind of said, like, it almost feels like this lie that we were told, you know, from the previous generation of like mid-step consoles, where it was, you know, here you can have the option between running at 60 or you can have 4K. And it's like, okay, well, if we have the option on those consoles, then when we get new, more powerful hardware, then we should get, you know, both, right? We shouldn't have to deal with those options anymore. And we kind of saw pretty quickly with the launch of those consoles that we were still getting those options in the menus, right? And it's like, well, what's going on there? Maybe they're just still trying to find themselves, you know, figure out what they can and can't do. You know, previous generations up until about probably the Xbox One generation, I guess, honestly, it was like, okay, we don't see the best looking games upon launch. Usually near the end of the kind of cycle. Everyone's used the hardware so much, they've learned the best tricks of the trade on how to get like every ounce out of these consoles. And basically ever since then, it's been like, well, we get what we get, and you're gonna have to be happy with that.
Yeah.
And it's becoming kind of frustrating because like that was the difference between consoles and PCs, right? Is like PCs is where you go if you want to fiddle around and be like, oh, well, if I turn this option up, then I get 10 more frames. And if I turn this option down, it looks a little shittier, but I get 20 more frames. You know, that's where that stuff was. And I liked that consoles were you plug them in, you turn them on, you play the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the only way anybody can play. So anybody who ever played this game basically saw the same.
Right.
I mean, it's really just based on your TV.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody
honestly,
said, hey,
you're seeing some concessions because, you know, they had to be developed that way. Now, conversely, on the opposite end of that, that was really only ever true of like third-party games. First-party games, you basically saw the best thing you could possibly see on that console.
Yeah,
like Gears of War is some of the best stuff we saw. The Naughty Dog games, Uncharted, those were graphics on par with some of the best PC games at the time, despite the fact that PC games had a ridiculous amount of sheer power more available to them to work with, basically. And now it just feels like everything's kind of flattened out to the point where we're just expected to be content with what we get, especially on the consoles. And not in the way that it's like leveling the playing field, in the way that like we're just getting the bottom basement of it is like, yeah, I'm not sure we're going to try to make this work anymore.
Yeah.
I guess that's what it is. And
yeah, exactly.
That's not to say it's like the effort of the developer. It could be financial reasons, but it's coming from the developer and the publisher. They are at the end of the day. Get back to that
time when crunch was a thing, Daniel. Yeah. They get back to the slave labor in the game industry. We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
The unpaid hours when they get that's when
what
gaming
people
was
were passionate about the games, Dominic. They made it for the love of the game,
and it wasn't woke.
Oh, okay, and we're throwing that in there too. Okay, sure.
Yeah. Well, that's because Daniel, that's what they do on the internet. Like when something bad happens, somebody said, "Man, this game's it's like this game, man, it plays bad." And it doesn't help that it's woke. I say, oh, Jesus.
Well, you see, Dominic, the woke policies of the studio are the reason why they want to give people time off and sick paid leave. That's the problem. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's not great, and just having gone through this experience with Starfield, only for them, it's like you said, you know, it's not even so much that they went through the experience of Starfield being 30 frames per second. Excuse me, it's the fact that eventually down the road, it was able to run at 60 frames per second.
Yeah,
so that means the hardware is not necessarily what's keeping it from being 60 frames per second. What's keeping it from that is the time needed to develop that, which now seemingly you're giving this game, the money that you're willing to give the studio to continue to pay workers to do more work to get it to that point, or the time investment. Well, I guess that goes into the first one. I mean, so like the first one is like giving it the time versus having the time, I guess. But either way, it's basically time or money. Which one are you willing to sacrifice to get the game where the people that want to play the game want it to be? And it seems like that's that's the problem, right? Is it's the company making this choice. It's not, hey, we don't have the hardware to support this. It's, hey, we're not willing to pay to make this happen.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, that's what makes it weird. It's like I can't even say like, oh, the power. I mean, yes, maybe the consoles aren't powerful enough where it could be easier for you to do that.
Yeah.
Like, but you still have to.
Yeah.
But it can be done. But I guess it can be done because Starfield did.
Now you
so
could make the argument, Starfield is Starfield and this game is this game. But then you have to make that argument while you're putting out this extremely bad quote. Again, maybe this is a guy that's just not PR trained and doesn't know that this isn't a thing that he should say. But like you spend any time on the internet and you kind of realize that maybe that's not something you say. I don't know.
That's the thing. It's like you gotta know, like, okay, I don't want to tell this guy that, like, I don't know what you say, but
you talk around it. You give him the politician answer. And it's like, well, of course, 60 frames is something that we're working towards. But, right now the game is running at 30 frames per second. And, but maybe. I mean, maybe you don't even go that far. Yeah, maybe you don't even admit to that. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to get around answering questions.
It's like we're still working on the game, but it'll be running at peak capacity,
peak performance. This game will be enjoyable no matter how you play it, when you play it, because it will be our vision. It will meet our vision. You're welcome. Goodbye, and then just run off stage like, oh shit. So,
yeah, man, Microsoft, man, it's just the Xbox, I should say,
they're stepping in it.
Yeah, man, it's like, god darn, man, like what is going on here? Like, what is going on?
Nothing good right now.
Yeah,
and I can't imagine what it's like for Phil Spencer right now, because if I'm the guys higher up the chain in Microsoft, I'm starting to look at Phil Spencer like I was looking at Don Matrick.
Yeah.
Like he's not handling this. And he needs to figure out what he needs to do in the position that he's in.
It's almost like I wish they would have just came out with the whole putting games on PlayStation months ago when they first announced it.
Sure.
And not the whole Indiana Jones and Starfield's not going to be there, even though technically he said it was the 4 games.
Yeah.
It wasn't one of the 4 games. Yeah. So technically he wasn't lying, but whatever. But it's like, whatever, man. Like, it would have been better to come out then and be like, we're looking into it.
Or even now, if he was the one to message this, instead of basically throwing Geoff Keighley to the wolves and being like, yo, Keighley, can you let them know while you're talking about our game that this is also coming to the PS5? Not that is weird. Geoff Keighley's getting any sort of blowback, but like...
Yeah, like, because that is weird that's the first time you see that.
Yeah, the messaging of it is just... Phil Spencer should have been... He knew what kind of shit show this was going to be. Or if he didn't, then he's even worse at his job than I would expect. But he knew what the messaging here was going to be. He could have put out, a press release, a statement, or something saying like, hey, look, this is what's going on. This is the reality of the business. And I think part of that was set up by that previous conversation with the 4 games that came out. And he could have been like, hey, we laid the things on the table. You look at the sales that we're getting on the PlayStation with things like Sea of Thieves, and we find that it is worth it to us to allow gamers from across the gaming space. Like, obviously you pivot it to it being beneficial to the customers. 'Cause at the end of the day, in a lot of ways it is. But again, my problem with it is with Microsoft being the only other hardware competition directly facing Sony, losing them as putting their games on another console, the competitor's console, just gives one other reason why someone's not going to buy their console. They're already not very successful console. So they are not putting themselves in a position to compete. And if we have no competition, then we're going to get continually screwed as customers.
Yeah.
Because this is the free market. It's not like, the government's going to come in and be like, oh, Sony is getting too much of the market share here in the consoles. We're gonna split them up. There's only going to be there's going to be Sony, and then there's just going to be PlayStation. Not that that would help.
They did that for Nintendo early on.
No,
they didn't do that for yeah.
So and maybe someone rises from the ashes. Maybe Sega comes back and decides now is the time.
Atari.
Maybe maybe the ColecoVision. Whatever. I jokingly said it earlier, but unless we see a Samsung, but even then, we saw Apple's attempt at pivoting into games. They had Resident Evil, the latest one, on their console, and seemingly, their phones. Yeah. Which also worked on whatever else. I'm not even totally sure if it worked on Apple TV or something like that. And nobody bought it. So I'm not entirely convinced that even if one of these big players like a Samsung or an Apple or I don't know. I mean, we saw Google's attempt at streaming. They gave up the ghost very quickly, which they do with most things that they see failing. I don't know, at Amazon, somebody, I just don't know that there's anybody out there right now that would be willing to make
Elon
that sacrifice. Musk. Yes,
be the African American you are. Be the African American you are, and help us bring America back in the gaming space.
Oh, don't give him ideas, Dominic. He's going to be too busy in Trump's administration.
Yep. And then he can have the not woke console.
Secretary of Gaming, Elon Musk.
He's like what's called Sweet Baby Inc. is not allowed to be anything on this console.
Oh no. So yeah, I mean that's where I'm at with it. I'm really just frustrated, not necessarily at Microsoft, but at the decisions that are putting us all as gamers, as consumers in a worse position.
Yeah. Just read books, Daniel.
Just read books. Yeah. Fucking Penguins got them all locked down on their platform, Dominic. I can't. I'm a Random House guy. So, yeah. All right, Dominic, was that everything then, gaming news-wise and otherwise?
Yeah, I'll probably have to mention maybe next week if I see any other game trailers that kind of
catch your attention.
Because there was some other, there was other games that weren't at that Keighley show that I've seen.
Yeah, because there still is a show floor here. It's not just, Geoff Keighley's event. Yep, giving vibes of old E3, Dominic. Just having somebody with a cell phone over your shoulder recording you playing a game off of a CRT. And I say with a cell phone, I mean a video camera. Shoulder mounted. All right, so let's get into new releases. Dominic, we've got Predecessor. That actually came out of early access this week. That is the one we talked about earlier. Basically the epic MOBA re-envisioned. We also have Concord, Dominic, great big PlayStation exclusive that should also come out to the Xbox eventually, obviously. I mean, honestly, that would make sense for them because it's a live service game. The more players you could potentially get. Now, it's not a free-to-play one, so, I don't know if you're going to get that many more players by putting it on the Xbox. But yeah, that's the thing is they should have learned from Destiny. I say should have learned, maybe Destiny is some successful thing, but I don't totally know, to be honest with you. But they should have saw from Sea of Thieves that the more places you could play a game, the better when it comes to live service style games.
Yeah.
And then we've got the heavy hitter this week, Dominic. Black Myth Wukong. It seems like people are, very high on this game right now. It's kind of the talk of the internet.
Yep.
So we did not get our review copies. So when we stream this game, we can talk all the feminism and how Taiwan is a country that we want, Dominic. We signed no embargo saying otherwise. But yeah, it does look cool. It looks more fast paced than a traditional Dark Souls style game, Soulsborne-esque game. So in that aspect, it definitely does interest me. I think it looks visually stunning. Like it really does look very good.
It does.
Yeah, so it is a game that I have some interest in. I just don't know if I'll ever get around to actually giving it a shot. So, all right, Dominic, anything else for the people this week?
Well, there's also more Space Marines too. I heard like people are really high on that game.
Nice, that's good to hear because I very much feel like that game's gonna come out and be like a high 60, low 70 game, but I would like for it to be more than that.
Yeah. Hopefully they pay people off enough that they can get the highest score.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine like the budget for paying people off has gone up exceptionally because like now they don't have to pay off Game Informer. So like,
yeah, it must be a show floor thing because the trailer they showed was just a.
Yeah, at the Keeleys it wasn't anything. So must be impressions. Maybe people are getting like early review copies or something like that. So previews, people still do those, right?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, wait a minute. Did you okay, you said Concord. Okay, it was another game that I thought came out. This week. Oh, Dustborn.
What is Dustborn? I did see that on the list, but it wasn't even clickable on Wiki, so I was like, oh, maybe that's not worth talking about.
Yeah.
But it does sound familiar.
It was at the, I think I saw the preview at a Gamescom, and I was confused when I said it's coming out this week, and I was like, oh, but I saw, like, it came out this week, I said, oh, okay. Because I was getting confused with this with the, what was that? The tape one? What was it called?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let me see. What you got up here.
Maybe I do.
Lost Records. Yeah. Lost Records. I was getting confused with Lost Records because it got that same type of feel.
Yeah.
And when I watched the trailer, I just be joking when I say things like, the liver stuff and everything. But I mean, looking at the trailer, I mean, it is just like if somebody who was a big Trump fan was watching, they would throw the fuck up and probably die from dehydration or something because of all the throw up they did. Because I mean, it is so very much like very yeah. It's like I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I do recall. I remember this now from one of the previous shows. Yeah, we saw it. Saw it elsewhere somewhere.
Wait a minute, Gamescom. I think they showed some more of. I didn't see it, but I thought I saw like someone mention it. Or like maybe one of the icons on YouTube, whatever, of the game you mentioned about when you talked about the Lost Deck, whatever.
Life is Strange.
What is it? Life is Strange? I think somebody Life is Strange 2.
Oh, okay.
But not two, but
whatever their new one is. Yeah.
Life is Strange Double Exposure.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man, I didn't even realize that was the title for it. Yeah, I see some on IGN like 2 days ago. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
That means you get to see the front and the back at the same time, Dominic.
Okay. Oh, man, it just looks cool. I think I would. See, and then it makes me think like, damn, I need to go back and play that. I didn't finish the Walking Dead series.
Yeah.
And I did. Well, not the first Life is Strange, but I need to go back to play the prequel, and then I got to play 2. I did play the latest one. I did play that one. And I'm trying to think of some other adventure games. I think that's basically it on that. And there was something they did too. That was story based, but it was Life is Strange. It was called something else because it was on Xbox. Oh, Tell Me Why. Tell Me Why was theirs thing too. Yeah, I just kind of like just took a break from those games. You know, I've been hearing a lot of things about this Megalopolis movie. I heard that they had a trailer, that they had to take a trailer down because it had fake reviews up there of it being great.
Yeah, like AI generated pull quotes or something like that. I had heard about that movie maybe a couple of months ago because it sounded like production on it was very bad in like a similar way to what was that other movie? Why am I completely blanking on everything related to it? What's the fish stick guy's name? You know who I'm talking about from The Critic.
Oh, wait. Say that again. What happened?
From The Critic, the fish stick guy.
Oh, man.
Orson Welles, but that's not at all who I'm trying to think of. God damn it. That's Marlon Brando. That's who I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
The Apocalypse Now. That's what I'm trying to think of.
Okay, so what about Apocalypse Now?
Apparently Apocalypse Now had like just a completely batshit production. Like everything was going bad.
Oh yeah. I remember
and
that.
And it sounds like what I had heard previously about this movie is basically it had some similar issues in production. So, yeah, that was really all I had really heard about that movie outside of like maybe there's a lot of big stars involved in it too that I don't remember. But yeah, I saw that the trailer had dropped for that and was pulled because of those reviews, but I haven't really read into it any more than that.
So I see. I'm confused. So what the trailer I'm looking at now is this the right trailer? Because
these are real reviews.
So these are reviews of like these other movies that sucked.
I don't know.
Because that's how it starts off. It starts with The Godfather. It says a sloppy, adult, self-indulgent voice. I mean,
which makes sense because this is directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
I was looking at two words at the same time because the guy Andrew Saris from The Voice, The Village Voice, said that a sloppy, self-indulgent movie. Is that a real quote or is this the fake one I'm looking at?
I don't know, but I'm pretty sure you could take like any of. Except for the fact that it would just be one reviewer over and over because you get that like Armand White guy and it's just like you take the best movies and you're like, I want really bad quotes about them. And you just go to all of Armand White's reviews and he just gives you trash.
Now, epic trash, Dracula, A Beautiful Mess.
Well, I mean, that's pretty complimentary.
Tragic. Yeah, I'm very confused. I don't know. But I want to see this movie now.
Yeah, because it's trash.
Because of all the stuff like they're saying about it. I want to see it. There was another movie that was like that too. Oh no, this was it. I think this is it because somebody said that. Do they think they put that out there? That wasn't a mistake. It was something they done on purpose, just for they can.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Yeah. I mean, everything feels manufactured at this point, especially everything online. So,
yep.
Yeah,
that's why my team never won a Super Bowl since 1991. Because everything else is manufactured for them to lose.
But now that the woke team won and they changed their name, they can go to the Super Bowl again, Dominic.
I wish they called the Commodores and have like the singers, like some.
There you go.
The Commanders, and that's still. I'm just so that I just like these people won't let go. It's like you can still be angry. That's fine, but it's not going to change. Some people say like, "Hey, change the name back." That's like, dude, they ain't changing the name back.
No.
That's not happening.
What are we talking about here?
And now, do I want the name to just change? Yes, I do want it to change.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change back. It's like just let it go.
But all my merch, Dominic.
Oh, right, look, if they're going to keep Commanders, you got to at least make the slogan "Go Commando," man. That's all I'm saying. There's got to be "Go Commando."
I can get you some unofficial merch off of Redbubble for you.
And like, I don't like that hog mascot they got. I forgot his name, but I wish they had like
Tommy
a guy
the
named
Commando.
Yeah, they said Commando. He's like in his boxer shorts or something like that.
There you go.
Of course, he can't be naked because there's kids there.
And because going shorts. Commando.
Yeah. No, I mean it's not like a real human being.
Oh, of course.
I mean it's like a puppet man. Like a puppet.
No,
man.
he should just be wearing jeans, and you should be able to very specifically see a dong outline.
Oh, that's the Brett Favre. Like, that's the Brett Favre look. Remember, he got in trouble for that.
Is that?
He got in trouble for it. He like showing photos of somebody with his dick pulled out of his jeans. And I think he would stop being in that commercial, and I think they did a joke of that on SNL where the guy who the guy who plays in that Ted Lasso, the Ted Lasso, he was being Brett Favre, and he was like, because they're showing that he was doing a jean commercial. And like you just see him throwing the ball. You see his dong just out. He's like blurred. And then him putting up his legs and stuff. All right then, man. Oh yeah, we still doing the podcast.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys as always for listening. You check us out on Twitter. Dominic's at DStalworth5. I'm at Regulus MB. The podcast is at Superpod, SUPAPOD. Superpod.com is the website. It has all of our previous podcasts, as well as links to all the places you can find us, including YouTube, where there's a video version of this podcast, as well as iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube Music, Spotify, Amazon, and anywhere you get audio podcasts. And until next time, guys, talk to you later.
All right, see ya.